Right lads, I'm your host, Man And His Kebab, and today we continue the trend of looking at terrible games. Yeah, usually it's fluffy handcuffs tie me to a chair.
Hello, I'm Man And His Kebab.
Ooh, Masked Man on TV, how original.
I have brought you here due to your insistent negativity and blatant disregard for the opinions of others.
Okay.
For this sin, I'll give you one task to complete to ensure you...
Does it involve butt stuff?
What?
Yeah, just forget I said that.
As I was saying, if you don't complete this task, which I was about to get to before you...
And what if I don't want to?
Stop interrupting me.
What are you gonna do? Injure me?
Worse, I'll play all 12 seasons of The Big Bang Theory till you cave.
No, you wouldn't dare.
You want to hear an interesting thing about stairs?
So now that you see I'm serious, your task will be...
Yeah, review a mediocre game. I've been in this position before. And so is your mother. Saw 2009, a survival horror game of course set in the Saw universe, and is set in between the first and second movies. We follow the character of Detective Tapp, who is somehow able to talk after having his throat slit in the first movie. Saw at release received relatively mediocre reviews, with people complaining about its unnecessary gore, to which I say, have you not seen the movies? Boring repetitive level design, and an uninspiring story, to which I once again say, have you not seen the movies? Pretty much everything past the first one is not great. Well, never mind that, but the real question is, do these criticisms still stand up a decade after this game has been released? Well, to find that out, we must first delve into the game's plot. Detective Tapp awakes in Whitehurst Asylum and is presented with a familiar face, Billy the Puppet, the mascot of the Jigsaw Killer. Tapp escapes from the fan favourite reverse bear trap and starts his journey to escape the asylum. Tapp is told that the gunshot wound he received from being shot by Zepp Hiddle has been sewn up by one of his cronies, but in the process of sewing him back up, the key to the asylum has been sewn inside Tapp, which basically serves as motivation, although not great motivation, for why everybody in this asylum is trying to kill you, alongside the fact that you also directly and indirectly ruined most of their lives. Tapp is led to the medical wing of the asylum by another victim of Jigsaw, only to be turned around and attacked by him, and then presented with another victim of Jigsaw, Amanda Young, a drug addict that is tied to a trap and must be freed by Detective Tapp. Hey, that rhymes. As redemption for the fact that Tapp kinda screwed her over in the pursuit of Jigsaw. This is in essence the entire game's plot. Tapp venturing around the asylum, freeing people whose lives he has ruined in the pursuit of capturing Jigsaw, from Jennings Foster, a man who Tapp had helped cover up a hit and run, to Melissa Singh, the widow of Tapp's former partner, Stephen Singh, who was killed by one of Jigsaw's traps in the first Saw movie, after Tapp had refused to call backup. Tapp is also attacked multiple times throughout the game by Pighead, a mysterious figure in service, kind of, to Jigsaw. Eventually Tapp kills Pighead and comes face to face with Jigsaw, where he is presented with a choice: continue to pursue Jigsaw at the cost of many more people's lives, or give up and free everybody whose lives he has affected from the asylum, with further details I won't spoil coming as a result of either option. Now, for a horror game plot, it's not exactly a terrible one, and it does raise moral questions for us as the player of whether or not Tapp was in the right or wrong while pursuing Jigsaw, but I do have to admit it's pretty repetitive and is essentially just rescue one person, go on to the next one.
Will you quiet about the plot already?
What did you expect me to do? It's part of the game.
Right. Tell me about the gameplay.
Okay, calm down. At least if you're gonna tie me up next time, bring me to dinner first. The gameplay of Saw is an incredibly mixed bag. First off, I think we should address the basics. Saw, as I said before, is a survival horror game, although I'm gonna leave the latter part till later. You venture around Whitehurst Asylum, gathering resources, killing enemies, and solving puzzles. Resources can be anything from health objects like stims, to objects for traps like shotgun shells. These traps are often well hidden on the floor or on walls, and thus you as the player must remain aware of your surroundings at all times, which can be achieved by a light source provided by either a lighter, camera flash, or torch. Puzzles are strewn throughout the map and are often set under a time limit, whether it be having to find a combination for a lock on a wall of many numbers, solving gear puzzles to save a victim of Jigsaw, or simply moving through enough rooms to find a key for a door. These puzzles are quite fun. the first few times you do them. After that, they do become incredibly repetitive, pretty much just rising in difficulty as the game goes on, and although they are introduced at a semi-staggered rate, they're only semi-fun. However, combat in this game is even worse than that. Now, combat in this game isn't difficult per se. Is it incredibly annoying? Yes. Especially due to the fact that heavier weapons make your swing slower to the point that if you don't anticipate an enemy's movements roughly an hour before they make them, each enemy will dodge your attacks like they're Neo from the Matrix. Weapons also have a finite amount of uses, so don't get too attached to that nail bat you just picked up. Now, combat is spiced up by a few things, one of which being the shotgun collar that forces you to remain away from certain enemies, as being in close proximity to them will cause your collar to activate. There's also the aforementioned traps, and different enemy types like berserkers who have more health, but rely on sound to figure out where you are. It's just a pity the revolver makes all of this obsolete with how OP it is. Finally, we have the environment and how it acts against you. Whether it be glass shards due to the fact that you're walking around barefoot in an asylum, which just raises the question, why couldn't you just take a pair of shoes off a dead body, alongside having to search toilets full of needles and acid vats for keys.
And
what?
how scary is it?
Well, not as scary as the things I was doing to your mother last night.
It's a Stephen Hawking lecture from MIT in 1974.
Oh, bollocks. The actual horror aspect of this game, meh. Okay, one thing I will compliment this game on is its atmosphere. The asylum is incredibly eerie whilst moving through it. You get a genuine sense of fear and vulnerability that anything could pop out at you at any moment in time. And on a few occasions, this does happen, with enemies popping out to attack you, or the pighead killer. But for the most part, it's a whole lot of build up just for a scare to not happen. Even while using something like the camera flash, which should be more scary due to the fact that it only gives you a glimpse of light for about a second, and also freezes your screen for a second. Something that, if used in the right scenario, could be a lethal combination for fear factor, but the game fails to implement it in a scenario that works. It also doesn't help that most of the character models look pretty similar, and kinda look like puppets, which kinda just makes you feel like you're fighting through Jeff Dunham's storage closet. Now, this game is of course full of gore. It wouldn't be a Saw game if it didn't have any, but to me personally, gore isn't scary, more so thrown in to get a reaction out of those of us who ate a kebab before playing. So in my opinion, calling this a horror game is a bit much. It's basically just Manhunt with 10 times more rusty steel and leather. I'll let you guys figure that one out. Even with all of this, Saw isn't a terrible game. Yes, it's not really that scary, the combat isn't great, and Jesus Christ does it control horribly. I still played it all the way through, and had a decent amount of fun trying to find different ways to trap enemies, or just simply snipe them with a revolver. It's still pretty mediocre though. Can I go now?
The key to your survival lies at the bottom of this pool of pure alcohol.
Yeah, you do realize I'm Irish, right?
Well,
It's a yes, stylist. What am I gonna do with this?
good luck.
Wait. Maybe I'll just take the stairs.